Hey, I didn't expect a preamp to completely elevate how every movie, song, and game feels in my space, but the Marantz AV7706 did exactly that. This isn't for someone who shrugs and says it gets loud enough. This is for the person who feels when sound lacks clarity, when dialogue floats without grounding, when immersive effects collapse into noise. You already know quality when you hear it, and you're done settling for gear that merely tries. Before anything else, check current price and stock. High-end components like this don't stay stable forever, and hesitation usually costs you more than you expect. I had that moment where I knew I needed better control. My old setup delivered power, sure, but every time scenes got dense the channels bled together, vocals lost shape, and depth vanished. The first time I integrated the AV7706, that all lightened. It wasn't just about cleaner sound, each element finally had purpose. Dolby Atmos placements weren't floating randomly, they had direction. Dialogue sat solid and clear. Music tracks had space and definition instead of flattening into background noise. Once you feel that release from compromise, you instantly recognize what was missing. Living with this pre-amplifier changed how every session feels. On movies, ambient cues don't just exist, they have depth and placement. Explosions hit with real texture without drowning conversation. Gaming becomes more precise, where footsteps and effects feel intentional instead of muddled around you. Even streaming shows feel more composed because voices hold their space. This isn't about specs on a box, it's about how sound truly lands in your room. And let me be straight, if you're thinking I'll wait for later, understand this, that later usually turns into regret when prices climb or inventory shifts unpredictably. You might question whether a preamp matters if you already have power. What surprised me wasn't just control, it was nuance. 11 channels of pure signal clarity means dense soundscapes stay articulate instead of chaotic. Expansive mixes maintain structure instead of collapsing into muddiness. Dynamic shifts feel controlled, not overwhelming. That intentional balance is rare. Once you live with it, anything weaker starts sounding like a layer of compromise you never need again. Owning the AV7706 changes how you start every session. You don't tweak endless menus. You don't chase clarity with volume knobs. You just turn it on and the system behaves. That's the confidence that comes only when gear performs with purpose instead of noise. Sound feels anchored and detailed, dialogue stays clear and confident, Atmos cues have real dimensionality, music feels layered and intentional, every moment feels purposefully composed. It requires thoughtful speaker and amp pairing. You'll notice lesser processors fall short. Eventually you stop looping comparisons and just choose the preamp you already wanted. Don't make this the upgrade you think about later and quietly regret you waited. Check price and availability now, and step into audio that finally feels intentional.